How do you know if someone is truly meant for you? That question keeps people up at night, caught between moments of deep connection and flashes of doubt. One day, you're laughing without trying, breathing easier just because they're near. The next, you're wondering if it's all in your head. But sometimes, the most powerful signs are the ones that don't need to be explained, like sitting beside someone and not feeling the urge to fill every silence, explain every thought, or protect every part of yourself. That's peace. That kind of peace isn't loud, but it says everything. Still, the line between real and imagined can be thin. You think you're reading the signs right, until you're not. And that's where most people get stuck, waiting for clarity that never comes, or ignoring the clarity that's already there. What if the answer isn't as complicated as you think? What if deep down, you already know? There are moments when something deep inside you leans forward, before you even know why. Maybe it's in the way someone speaks, how they look at you, or how their presence doesn't disturb your peace, but meets it. There's no checklist, no sudden thunder, just a quiet recognition that feels like something falling into place without effort. And then it hits you, not with confusion, but with clarity. The people who are meant for you don't add noise to your life. They silence it. Their presence doesn't create questions. It answers them. You're not left guessing where you stand or shrinking parts of yourself to keep their interest. Instead, you feel safe to be fully there. You don't have to overthink it. That's one of the first signs. When someone is meant for you, your mind doesn't need to run in circles trying to decode them. You aren't constantly looking for signs or forcing compatibility through shared interests or surface-level charm. There's a natural rhythm between you. Even silence feels comfortable. And in that calm, something inside you says, "Pay attention." This knowing doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with obsession. It feels more like a grounding force, a calm certainty rather than a rush of excitement. It settles in your chest like warmth, not adrenaline. And while it might be unfamiliar, it's not unsettling. It's a sense of being met, not impressed. That kind of connection doesn't demand performance. You don't feel the need to filter your personality or shrink your truth. You're not performing to win them over. You're simply showing up, and for some reason, that feels like enough. That's rare. That's meaningful. Sometimes, the knowing shows up in your body before it reaches your thoughts. A deep breath that feels easier to take. A tension you didn't know you were holding suddenly released. You're not waiting for the other person to validate you. You already feel steady in their presence. You feel more like yourself, not less. We often mistake comfort for boredom or peace for lack of passion. But when someone is truly aligned with your life, it won't always feel dramatic. It won't feel like chaos. It will feel like ease. That doesn't mean things will be effortless or perfect. It means you won't have to lose yourself to stay close. There's a difference between being drawn to someone because of a wound and being drawn to someone because they reflect your growth. That difference? It's this knowing. And when it arrives, it doesn't ask for proof. It just asks you to trust that the right connection doesn't make you question your worth. Sometimes, when you meet someone and feel something strong right away, it's hard to explain. It's not just about looks or conversation. It feels deeper, like something inside you is waking up. That feeling? It might be your inner world speaking. One of the greatest minds to ever explore this idea was Carl Jung, a brilliant psychologist whose work changed the way we understand human connection. Jung believed that the people we meet don't show up in our lives by accident. Many of them reflect parts of us, especially the parts we haven't fully seen or healed yet. He introduced the idea of synchronicity. It means certain people cross our path at the exact moment we're ready for them, not by chance, but because something inside us is calling them in. That's why, when someone feels meant for you, it's more than timing or chemistry. It's your inner world aligning with the outer one. Jung also spoke about something called individuation. That's the process of becoming who you truly are, without masks, without pretending, without trying to fit in. When you start living from that place, something shifts. You stop chasing people who don't see you. You stop forcing connections that drain you. And suddenly, the right people start to feel more visible, more natural, more real. Have you ever noticed that when you're hurting, you tend to meet people who make that pain worse? That's not bad luck. According to Jung, it's your mind trying to show you what still needs healing. And when you begin to face those wounds and take care of them, the way you connect with others changes too. But not everyone who feels meaningful is meant to stay forever. Jung taught that some people are messengers. They show up to teach you, challenge you, or open your eyes to something important. Even if it ends, they played a part in your growth. And that matters. The person who's truly meant for you won't make you feel small. You won't feel like you have to perform, prove, or fight to be enough. Their presence will bring calm, not confusion. You'll feel free to be yourself, and somehow, that will feel like more than enough. Jung believed that our inner world is always speaking, through attraction, through discomfort, through the people we can't forget. When you slow down and really listen, you begin to see it. The right people don't fix you, they meet you in your truth. Not every powerful connection is the right one. That's something many people learn the hard way, often after mistaking emotional chaos for love. After understanding how someone can reflect what's inside you, it becomes easier to ask a harder question. Is this real or just intense? Attraction can trick you. Some people walk into your life and immediately spark something big. Your heart races, you feel pulled in, almost addicted to their presence. But that feeling isn't always a sign of truth. It can also be a reaction to something unresolved. Just because the connection is strong doesn't mean it's safe. Intensity often carries confusion. One day it feels like everything is right. The next, you're anxious, unsure, trying to decode mixed signals. You tell yourself it's deep because it's dramatic. But real connection doesn't play with your nervous system. It doesn't throw you into emotional highs and lows just to keep you hooked. The truth feels steadier. It feels like a full exhale. With the right person, there's no need to chase, explain, or guess. You don't feel like you're on trial. You don't need to twist yourself into something more lovable. There's presence, not performance. When someone is right for you, they don't pull you out of yourself. They help you feel more rooted in who you already are. Many people confuse being seen with being thrilled. One can give you butterflies, the other gives you peace. The difference is simple. One keeps you spinning, the other lets you land. Intensity can feel exciting, but it often leaves you tired. Truth builds slowly, but it gives you energy, not anxiety. Notice what stays quiet when the room is loud. Notice who makes your body feel calm, even when life isn't. That's what truth looks like. It isn't louder than everything else. It's what makes everything else finally make sense. We live in a world that glamorizes drama. The more chaotic, the more it must mean something. But if you're constantly questioning where you stand, constantly recovering from emotional whiplash, that's not love. That's survival. Truth is quieter, but it lasts. It doesn't need chaos to prove it's real. And once you've experienced that kind of steady presence, everything else starts to feel like noise. After recognizing how emotional intensity can blur the truth, you begin to pay attention to what feels different, what feels safe. That's where peace becomes a sign. It's not dramatic. It's not chaotic. But when someone is truly meant for you, peace isn't just present, it stands out. Not having to constantly explain yourself is peace. Being able to just sit next to someone and feel understood, even in silence, is peace. It's the absence of performance, the space to exist without needing to impress. When you feel seen without effort, it becomes clear. Something about this connection is real. You notice how your breathing slows down. You're not thinking 10 steps ahead, bracing for something to go wrong. You're here now. There's no guessing, no decoding. You're not walking on edge hoping to be chosen. You already feel accepted. That's not small, that's everything. What surprises most people is that peace doesn't always feel exciting. Especially if you're used to chaos, stillness can feel strange. But over time, that stillness becomes safety. It teaches you the difference between craving someone and actually trusting them. There's peace in not rushing, in being allowed to grow at your own pace. You don't have to earn your place. You don't feel punished for needing space or speaking honestly. When they're meant for you, being yourself isn't risky, it's welcomed. Even when things go wrong, peace doesn't vanish. You can talk without fear. You can disagree without damage. You don't feel small in conflict. You feel respected. That matters more than loud apologies after loud fights. It's in their tone when they say your name. It's in how they show up, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. You don't have to ask for the bare minimum. It's given naturally. Their consistency becomes a quiet reminder that you can finally relax. You start noticing how calm feels better than chaos, how stability gives more than unpredictability ever did. There's no more guessing if you matter. No more trying to be less so, you'll be loved more. When peace shows up, it's not empty. It's full of everything you once thought you had to chase. When someone is meant for you, peace doesn't just follow them. It surrounds you. And in that stillness, you recognize something you've been missing all along. You feel at home in their presence, and even more at home in your own skin. Sometimes the right person arrives before you're ready to receive them, not because you don't care, not because they don't matter, but because something inside you hasn't caught up yet. That's the role of timing. It doesn't just shape who you meet, but what you're able to hold. You can meet someone who treats you well, who sees you clearly, who brings ease to your life, and still not be able to stay. If you're carrying past pain, self-doubt, or unhealed expectations, even something good can feel uncomfortable. The timing might be off not because of the other person, but because of what you haven't faced in yourself. Other times, you're the one who's ready, but they're not. They might still be tied to their own confusion, their own fears, or their own unfinished story. You can't force alignment. No matter how strong the connection feels, two people have to be walking at a similar pace for things to truly work. Some relationships show up to reveal that truth. They feel real, they feel close. But something always feels slightly out of sync. You keep trying to adjust, to wait, to fix what's missing. And still, it never fully lands. That's not failure. It's a sign the connection isn't supported by the right timing. When someone is meant for you, the pace won't feel painful. You won't feel like you're dragging them forward or trying to catch up. The flow between you will feel more natural, even when life gets messy. Not perfect, but possible. Not effortless, but balanced. Timing doesn't make a person more right or less right, but it does shape what's possible. It decides whether a connection grows or becomes a memory of what could have been. Knowing that helps you release what didn't work, not because it wasn't real, but because the moment wasn't ready for it to last. When timing doesn't match, even the right person can feel far away. But there's something else that distorts what we feel. Fear. It can blur everything. It makes you question what's real, what's safe, and what you truly deserve. Fear doesn't wait for understanding. It pushes you to act, to chase, to hold tight. It tells you that if you let go, you'll end up alone. It creates a pressure that feels urgent. Many relationships are built more on fear of loss than on real connection. Knowing doesn't speak that way. It doesn't scream or demand. It feels like a steady signal inside you that says, "This is right," even if you can't explain it. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel like you're falling behind. There's a kind of peace that comes with it, even when things are uncertain. In fear-based connections, you often find yourself doing too much. You overthink, overgive, overstay. You stay in situations that confuse you, just because the idea of leaving feels worse than the pain of staying. But staying in fear slowly wears down your sense of self. There's a big difference between wanting to be with someone and feeling like you need them to feel okay. Fear creates that need. It tells you that without this person, you'll be empty. But the truth is, that kind of emptiness starts long before they arrived. Knowing doesn't make you smaller. It doesn't ask you to earn love or attention. You don't feel like you're walking on eggshells or waiting for signs of safety. You feel it in the way you breathe, the way you speak, the way you settle into yourself. A lot of people have never known the difference. They confuse fear with love, because fear has always been louder. But when someone is meant for you, you don't feel the need to protect yourself all the time. You feel understood without effort, and that's when you know it's real. Your body always knows. Before your mind builds reasons to stay, before your heart gives more chances than it should. Deep inside, something responds. And if you pay close attention, you'll feel it. Clearer than words. Listening to the body isn't a soft suggestion. It's your first line of truth. It's in the way your chest tightens when you're holding back. It's in the way your jaw clenches when something doesn't feel right, but you pretend it does. The body keeps score, even when your thoughts make excuses. There are people who drain you just by being near, and there are others who make your breathing slow down without doing anything at all. That contrast is the message. When someone is meant for you, your body will feel safer, not more alert. Forget overthinking their tone or their timing. Pay attention to how you feel right after they leave. Lighter, heavier, energized, numb. These aren't small details. They're signals. Listening to the body means learning to notice the difference between tension and calm without needing to explain it. When you constantly feel on edge, it's not chemistry. It's your body bracing for impact. Some truths can't be spoken, only felt. You shouldn't need to shrink, adapt, or brace around someone who's right for you. If your body is always in defense, that's not connection. It's survival. Real presence brings relief. You laugh without watching your words. You exhale without knowing you are holding your breath. That's not luck. That's alignment. You've been taught to trust words, but the body doesn't lie. When someone is right for you, your body will say yes. Quietly, steadily, without fear. You just have to be willing to listen. After learning to trust your body, it becomes harder to ignore when something doesn't feel right, even in people you care about. That's when we begin to face the ones who leave, the ones who enter with weight, make a mark, and walk away before the story feels finished. They don't always exit loudly. Sometimes they drift, sometimes they vanish. But their absence carries a strange kind of presence. You feel it in quiet moments, in old songs, in the way they changed how you see yourself. The ones who leave often arrive to awaken something. They reflect a need, a fear, or a part of you that was waiting to be seen. Their role wasn't to stay forever, but to spark a change you wouldn't have reached on your own. You may catch yourself looking back, wondering if you misunderstood the meaning. But real impact isn't measured by how long someone stays. It's measured by what shifts inside you because they were there. Not every deep connection is meant to stay in your life. Some are meant to push you forward, to break patterns, to teach you something essential before continuing on a different path. That doesn't make them any less real. You don't have to erase their memory to heal. You just have to stop carrying the weight of what was never yours to hold. After all the doubts, all the leaving, all the confusion, you begin to understand something deeper. You can't miss what's meant for you. Not because everything works out the way you planned, but because what's truly aligned won't ask you to betray yourself to keep it. There's relief in realizing you don't have to chase love. What's real won't play hide and seek. It won't need fixing, forcing, or proving. When something is right for you, it fits. Not because it's perfect, but because you don't have to lose yourself to hold it. You can't miss what's meant for you doesn't mean you'll never feel loss. It means what's truly meant to grow with you won't slip away just because things get hard. It'll meet you where you are and walk beside you at the pace you're ready for. So stop asking if you've missed your chance. Stop replaying moments wondering if you said the wrong thing or stayed too long. If it left, it wasn't meant to stay. If it's still with you, trust it's here for a reason. What's meant for you will recognize you. It will feel calm, not confusing. And when it arrives, you won't need to ask if it's real. You'll feel it. If this message meant something to you, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss future content. And if you'd like to support this work, you can leave a super thanks. Every bit helps and means a lot. Thank you for watching, and truly, thank you for being here.